Hey guys, today we're going to read chapter 6 of 4th grade Rats by Jerry Spinelli. If you remember in the last chapter, we had our friend our friend Suds. He was kind of talking to his dad a little bit about when he was a kid. And when he was his age, he was acting like, hey, did you have a lunchbox with elephants on it? And do you lift weights? He was kind of trying to figure out how and when he became a man to compare it to what Joey is saying you need to do to become a man, which was kind of interesting. And then at the end of the chapter, of course, Joey called him and said, did you say no to your mother? So Joey's really trying to kind of egg Suds on, or Morton on at this point, to call him, or for Suds to start disobeying his mom and kind of become a man in Joey's terms. So let's go ahead and start with chapter 6. The title of the chapter is Joey Becomes a Man. So before I show the first chapter, I want you to try to think of what happens in this chapter that you think would make Joey a man. What's your prediction that's going to happen based on the title? Joey becomes a man. Take a minute to think about it. And let's get started. Chapter 6, Joey becomes a man. Nothing much changed during the next couple days. First graders called fourth graders rats. Fourth graders bared their front teeth and snarled. First graders ran away squealing. I kept opening doors for Judy Billings. Judy Billings kept ignoring me. By the second week of school, the first graders were tired of the game. And without the first graders calling them rats, the fourth graders pretty much forgot that's what they were. Except for Joey Peterson. Joey was doing just what he'd said. Taking care of number one. I don't mean he went around kicking people in the kneecaps. I mean he did things pretty much his own way. He didn't care what anyone else thought. One day in class, we had pretend elections to learn how government works. Joey nominated himself for President of the United States. Then he voted for himself. He even looked different. He got his hair cut practically down to the nubs. Like Marine boot camp, he said. Have you guys ever seen pictures of Marines? They all have the same haircut. It's a shaved head, so they have like no hair, it's shaved down. So he's saying it's like he's in Marine boot camp. And he started wearing one of his father's old sweatbands around his head. He got a black marker and wrote no, with the period that stands for number, 1 on it. Joey was on his way to becoming a man. In fact, I think I saw him become a man before my very eyes. On Thursday at the schoolyard. It was after lunch. We were just cruising around when a bee started flying near us. I hate bees as much as I hate spiders. So I took off, flapping my hands. I heard Joey call, Suz, look. I turned. What? Look. He was holding out his arm. I couldn't see anything. Look, at what? He was keeping very still, staring at his arm. Come closer. I came closer and I saw. The bee was on his arm, crawling up and down. It gave me the shakes just to watch. Swat him, I whispered. He just kept staring at the bee. By now, other kids were coming over, gawking. One of them was Gerald Willis, the school thug. Do you guys know what gawking means? I want you to picture what would happen if you were at recess and one of your friends fell down and it looked like he was really hurt. Picture in your head what would happen after that. Now in my school when this happens, usually people are running to that person. All the kids are like, whoa, what happened? Are you okay? That's kind of you're in awe. You're like, what's going on? So you could be confused. You could be just interested. You could be like weirded out. You could be grossed out. You'd be like, whoa. So kids were all coming over to Joey like, whoa, he's got a bee just sitting on his arm? That's crazy. Now we see that Gerald Willis, the class bully, is coming up to him. So make a prediction. What do you think could happen next? It's usually not a good thing when he comes around Joey and Suds, I've noticed. So what do you think Gerald Willis will do, or do you think he'll do nothing? What do you think might happen next? When Willis saw what was happening, he snuck up behind Joey and make sure you've made your prediction. Knocked Joey's arm from underneath. Joey's arm jerked up and the bee took off, but not for long. The bee made a U-turn and came right back and zap, stung Joey right on his arm. Kids shrieked. I think a couple of little ones fainted. Everybody rushed forward. A bee sting next to a car door slamming on your hand, probably the most painful thing in the world. Major agony. What does agony mean? You might already know. If you don't, think about what he's going through right now. He just got a bee sting, and they're also comparing it to slamming your hand in a car door. What kind of feelings would you be having if that happened to you? Agony means extreme pain or discomfort, so it's really, really hurting. I tunneled through the mob. Would Joey be in convulsions, conscious, alive? So do you think that, Suds is being appropriate right now? I don't think that Joey's going to pass out from a bee sting. I don't think he's going to die from a bee sting, right? I mean, if you're allergic to bee stings, you can get seriously hurt. But if you're not, generally it hurts a little for a second and then it just is kind of sensitive for a couple days. So Suds is really overreacting here. He was grinning, was staring at the little white bee sting bump on his arm, and he was grinning. He was a rat. He was a man. Girls swarmed over him. Ooh, Joey, it must hurt so bad. How can you stand it? Ooh, Joey, don't you want to cry? Ooh, Joey, you're so brave. Ooh, Joey. One of the girls was Judy Billings. Uh-oh. This doesn't sound good. What do you think? What do you think's going to happen here? Do you think Suds is going to be upset about this? Do you think Joey even likes Judy Billings? This doesn't look good, because if you remember in the past chapters, we learned that Suds is like madly in love with Judy Billings. So, doesn't sound too good. Judy Billings followed Joey around the rest of the day like a puppy dog. I walked home with him, but so did she, and it was like I wasn't even there. Joey, can I see it? For the millionth time. Ooh, it gives me the shivers. It's not even visible. Weren't you scared? I heard people can die from bee stings. Hey, look at me. I'm the only one dying around here. You think we ought to go to the emergency ward? Barf. Can I see it one more time? Scream! So there's a picture. We can see Joey. He's got that #1 sweatband, and then that's a picture of his bee sting. You can see someone's pointing to it. And it looks like Suds might be the one in the back, way in the back, I think. Back here, because he's kind of like afar, like looking at it. Looks a little, not sad, but concerned maybe. Of course, she couldn't just look at it with her eyes. She had to look at it with her hands too. I guess she had little eyeballs in her fingertips. First, she would touch the invisible sting spot and say, "Does that hurt?" And Joey would say, "No." Then she would press it and go, "Does that hurt?" And Joey would look all cool and say, "Nah." Of course, that wasn't enough for her. She had to start feeling around the rest of his arm to see if it was swelling up. She said it was. He said it wasn't. So of course she had to switch over to his other arm and go feeling around that one to see how it compared. And all of a sudden, it wasn't about a bee sting anymore. Wow, your muscles are so hard. She didn't even see him clenching his arm. Girls are so dumb about that. Do you lift weights? She cooed. I lift my father's barbells, I said, crossing my fingers. He was lying, so he crossed his fingers while he said it. She gave him a look like, did you hear a voice? Is somebody else here? As for Joey himself, he was a little hard to figure. I had to admit, he wasn't exactly sucking up to her. He was letting her do the talking. In fact, for a minute, there it even looked like he was trying to help me. He gave me a little jab and said to her, hey, I happen to know another guy who has pretty good muscles too. Oh, so it looks like he's trying to help Suds. You can tell Judy's really kind of sucking up to Joey here. And Joey is saying, hey, there's another guy who I think you might like who has muscles. So he's really trying to stick up for Suds, and it doesn't seem like he necessarily even likes Judy based on what he's saying. We will see. Let's go to the next page. Not as good as yours, she cooed. Oh yeah, he said, even better than mine. And you know what? I think he likes you. Her eyes widened. Really? Yeah, really. And I bet you'd like him too. Maybe I would. She was blushing. I was blushing. Things were looking up. I was feeling good. Joey shot me a quick grin. Want me to tell you who it is? My face was burning. Tell her. Don't tell her. Tell her. Don't tell her. She gave him a shy smile. You don't have to. I don't? He said. No. How's that? Because I already know who it is. I was ready to faint. I wanted to crawl under the nearest car. Joey poked me again. Yeah? Who do you think it is? She giggled. She blushed even redder. She looked up and down the street. She cupped her hands and whispered into his ear. When she pulled away, she giggled again. He just gawked at her. She whispered some more in his ear. Then she ran off giggling down the street. We walked, and Joey didn't say anything. So I did. Well, what? Well, who did she say? He shrugged. Nothing. So it doesn't sound like she said Suds, because he probably would have told Suds right away, right? So it doesn't sound good for Suds. I grabbed his shirt and jerked him to a stop. Peterson, who did she say? He sniffed. He shrugged. He looked away. Me. You? Yeah, she thought I was making it up about someone else liking her because I was afraid to say it was me. I let his shirt go. Oh, great. Good friend you are. He screeched. What could I do? I was trying to help you. Yeah, big help. I didn't hear you telling her she was wrong. I didn't hear you say you don't like her. I don't. You know it. You can have her all you want. Traitor, I said. Suds. Traitor. I went to the other side of the street. After a while, he called, Suds, it's Friday. Stay over my house tonight. Never, I said. Uh-oh. So think about if you have any predictions for how you think this may work out throughout the next couple chapters between Joey and Suds. They seem to have been best friends since we started the book. So do you think that this fight is going to last? Do you think they're going to get into another fight? What do you think is going to happen here? We will have to wait and see, but definitely keep making predictions at the end of each chapter. We will do chapter 7 tomorrow. Bye, guys.